Hi, everybody. Welcome to English Digest. I'm Tom.
Hi, I'm Stephanie.
It's our health unit for this edition of our magazine, in which we talk about health, feeling healthy and feeling good about your life and being able to live a long time. But today we're talking about a problem with pollution. No, we're not talking about air pollution or water pollution. We're talking about something called noise pollution. And usually noise pollution, to me at least, just seems kind of annoying, but as we're going to find out today, noise pollution can actually affect our physical and mental health.
Oh, I could tell you that. They're using a jackhammer right outside my building right now.
I know.
They're breaking up all the sidewalks. I want to go crazy. It starts early and it ends about 6. At least it doesn't go on all night. But, and it's also, it's hard to find a cab because they've blocked off that part of the road, but the noise is awful. We're going to find out it really does affect your health to have a lot of noisy sounds around you, and especially in your immediate or surrounding environment. But first, guys, we're going to listen to our article read through one time. We'll be back.
Noise pollution is a frequently underestimated environmental hazard. While hearing loss is the best-known outcome associated with noise, emerging research is uncovering how noise affects our health in other ways. From impaired memory and sleep disturbances to cardiovascular problems, the impact of noise is profound. For a start, unpleasant or excessively loud sounds can lead to stress and divert attention. Even everyday noises, such as those caused by traffic, lawnmowers, and construction work, can interfere with cognitive functions and elevate stress levels. Our ears capture sound, but we hear with our brains, explains Wei Sun, an audiology researcher at the University at Buffalo in the U.S. This statement suggests that noise not only affects our ears, but also disturbs our brain processes. In noisy environments, the brain must work harder to filter out unnecessary sensory input, leading to mental fatigue. This cognitive overload is especially evident in educational settings. Studies have shown that students in noisy classrooms struggle with reading comprehension, memory retention, and test performance. Unfortunately, noise-induced stress affects more than just the brain. Chronic stress is a risk factor for many health issues, including anxiety, depression, headaches, and weakened immune systems. Alarmingly, research has even linked nighttime traffic noise to cardiovascular problems. A 2023 study found that participants exposed to recorded traffic sounds during sleep exhibited higher blood pressure and more signs of vascular stress the next morning. We should thus, all things considered, take proactive steps to shield our hearing. We can, for example, wear earplugs in loud environments, such as during concerts or in subway stations. Lowering the volume on headphones is another simple yet effective measure. Additionally, incorporating stress relief strategies, like regular exercise, can help counter the negative effects of unavoidable noise. By taking these steps, we can reduce its harmful impact and improve our overall well-being. Okay, everybody, it's time for us to discuss our article for today. It's all about silence. So that's when you don't hear any sound. Don't confuse that with the adjective form, silent, like it's all silent now. There's no sounds, but silence here is a noun. It just refers to a situation in which there is no sound or no noise. And so if you want somebody to shut up and quit making so much noise, you might say, silence, please. Please don't be quiet, or please be quiet, rather. Don't make any noise. It's very obnoxious. I can't sleep. I can't study. I can't work. But we're talking about the perils of noise pollution. A peril is kind of like a dangerous situation. It is danger. It's about to happen to you. And so we're talking about the dangers, you could say, of noise pollution.
You could use it as a phrase like, oh, someone is in peril. If you're in peril, it's the same as saying you're in danger. Peril's just a little bit more advanced, I would say, than danger. or the perils of driving in Taipei. Driving a car or a scooter can be very dangerous in Taipei, especially because of all the traffic. Tom rides his bike in the traffic, which I think is insane.
Not always.
A lot of it. And I just think a lot of the time you're riding your bike and I think, oh, please be careful.
Yes, it is very dangerous out there, and it is quite noisy when one is out in Taipei traffic. I would venture to say that cities in Taiwan are probably the loudest in the world, or among the loudest, because of all the traffic, and especially because of all the scooters. Those things are really noisy. And yes, we could all be suffering from severe noise pollution. So let's talk about this.
Okay.
Here in the first paragraph, it says, noise pollution is a frequently underestimated environmental hazard. So if something's underestimated, that means people aren't taking it seriously. They don't think it's as severe or as damaging as it really is. You could also underestimate someone, like you probably think that someone's not going to be able to do something, but then they did, and you realize, oh, I underestimated you. I didn't think you would be able to do that. I thought you were a weakling, a dummy, or whatever, but you actually succeeded. So I underestimated you. And yes, noise pollution is often underestimated because we seem to be focused more on water pollution and air pollution and things like that.
So while hearing loss, if you lose your hearing, you might become deaf or hard of hearing or hearing impaired. We use all of those phrases. Hearing loss is the best known outcome or consequence associated with noise. So we all pretty much understand that you can lose your hearing if you are in a really loud environment. If you go to a concert, sometimes it's really loud, or even a football game. I've been to some football games outside, Tom, that I swore was affecting my hearing. And I thought, oh, I'm going to bring, what do you call those?
Earplugs?
Earplugs next time, I know. It can get really, really loud if people are all screaming at the same time.
You mean an American football game?
Yeah, American football, yeah. So you need to be careful with your hearing. You can lose your hearing. I listened to, it was a Walkman back when I was growing up. It's like listening to an iPod, I guess. But I listened to it full volume every single time because I just love music. And I wanted it to go through my body. And I don't have the hearing I used to. I've lost some hearing. So it can affect you. Be careful with how loud you listen to things outside, especially on your ear pods, because it does affect your long-term hearing. So hearing loss is one of the best known outcomes associated with noise. But we've got emerging research, which means it's new research has just come out, and it's uncovering how noise affects our health in other ways. So we're really not going to focus so much on hearing loss today. We're going to focus on things like this: impaired memory. If something's impaired, it's not working the way it should be. And I mentioned people can be hearing impaired, vision impaired. Here you have maybe an impaired memory. It's affecting your memory. It's not working like it should.
You're not remembering things as well as you used to, and that could be because of the noise pollution around you. We also have some problems with sleep disturbances. If something disturbs you, it bothers you, it wakes you up, it causes you to be annoyed. And a disturbance, of course, is when that happens. It could be sleep disturbances, which, of course, will disturb your sleep. In other words, you won't be able to sleep because of noise. Maybe that is referring to the fact that you heard noise during the day, and at night, even though it might be quiet, you're still waking up. You're not having a good sleep at night because of the noise you heard during the day. I think that's what that's referring to. It's not necessarily referring to noise at night. And we also could have cardiovascular problems. That just means problems with your heart and blood vessels. That's what cardiovascular problems are, problems with that. And the impact of noise is profound. It's deep, and it's something that we need to take seriously.
We do. I hadn't thought about that so much. I know that I don't sleep well anyway, so I can't imagine having worse sleep than I'm having right now. But we need to be aware of these things that are going on around us. For a start, unpleasant or excessively loud sounds can lead to stress. That I know. I was texting a friend just before I came, Tom, and I said, can you tell that they're using a jackhammer outside my window? It's just frustrating. It makes you tense up. It makes you anxious, stressed out. And it can also divert attention. To divert just means to distract you from something that you're doing. Or if they try to divert traffic, the police may come out and say, we're working on this road, or there's an accident up ahead. We want to divert traffic, which means we want you to turn and use a different road or route home or wherever you're going. So I wanted to mention, though, there is another pronunciation for this word. It's used mostly in the UK, and that's divert. But I've heard it in America, too. Divert is used more frequently, but you can also pronounce this divert.
Yeah, you just change course, you change the direction you're going, like a flight might be diverted because of a storm or something like that. And here, your attention is diverted. You're just not concentrating. You're just not concentrating on things. You're distracted. And that's, of course, a result of loud sounds that you might hear in the day, like a jackhammer or big buses going past or hundreds of motorcycles going past your window all day long. And these could be described as everyday noises, so even everyday noises such as those caused by traffic, by lawnmowers, and construction work can interfere with cognitive functions, and they can elevate stress levels. So these are everyday noises that you hear in the city. I'm from a small town. I'm not used to this. But in the city, of course, you've got traffic sounds with, the scooters and the trucks and the buses. You've got lawnmowers, which are machines that cut grass. You usually see lawnmowers by the Riverside Park here in Taipei. They go out there and cut the grass every couple of weeks or so. Otherwise, it turns into a bunch of weeds. And then you've got construction work going on with the jackhammers and the pounding of the poles and stuff like that. All of those everyday noises can interfere with your cognitive functions. Now, if something's cognitive, it has to do basically with thinking, of getting information with your vision and your hearing and stuff like that. So if you hear that noise all day long, it's difficult for you to think about things, to remember things, to concentrate in school or at work. And of course, you could also have elevated or increased stress levels. You might get angry easily when you normally are a pretty calm person.
We have a quote here from a researcher whose field is audiology, which is the study of hearing disorders. And this person seems to have at least a pedigree that goes back to China. He's got a Chinese name here, Wei Sun or Wei Sun. But he says our ears capture sound. They catch it, but we hear with our brains, which makes sense, right? Your brain has to interpret what it hears. And he says that this statement suggests, or this, whatever he was saying here, it suggests that noise not only affects our ears, but also disturbs our brain processes. Processes is also pronounced processes. You may hear people say it like that. I say it like processes because I was in New York too long. But yeah, it affects the way our brains process information and the sounds that they hear. In noisy environments, the brain has to work harder to filter out unnecessary sensory input. If you filter something out, you take something and you remove the unwanted things. We filter out sound. We filter our water at home so we don't have bugs and diseases in our water. Here, it says our brains actually filter out, or they must filter out, unnecessary sensory input. Sensory here refers to our 5 physical senses. So it's got to work even harder if it's got all this extra noise in the background. And that leads to mental fatigue. If you're tired, you feel fatigued. And fatigue here is a noun. So you can see it's a real problem. We're not finished with this, guys, but we do have to take a quick break, listen to our Chinese teacher for a bit, and then we'll be back.
Hello everyone, 我是派老师。今天讲解的是 Unit 5 Silence Please, The Perils of Noise Pollution。这个单元介绍的是噪音。文章先说明噪音对健康的危害， 不只会损害我们的认知功能，造成学习障碍，甚至会引发心血管疾病。最后，文章提醒大家，到底平常可以做哪些事情，以避免或减轻噪音造成的危害。好，我们一起来看学习重点。首先，请看到第一段 ，Noise pollution 噪音污染呢 is a frequently underestimated environmental hazard。它其实是一个很大的危险来源，但是常常受到低估 underestimated， 那常常受到轻忽，大家觉得可能没那么危险。再来第二个句子，请同学看到 associated with， 在逗点前面这个 noise 前面有个片语 associated with noise。好，那所以我们知道说噪音常造成的大家最容易先想到的后果就是我们听觉的丧失。好，再来请同学看到第三个句子，噪音除了会让人的听觉受损以外，还有哪一些危害？在第三个句子就指出来 impaired memory， 这里 impaired 也是一个过去分词当形容词用，就记忆力会受损，而且也会影响我们的睡眠 sleep disturbances。那甚至于后面有讲到会有心血管疾病 cardiovascular problems。 好，那再来我们看到第二段的第一个句子，那其实噪音有一个问题可能很多人忽略，就是它其实会导致压力 and divert attention， 而且也会让我们注意力不集中，因为它转移我们的注意力。在这里divert 其实是转移，会让人分心的意思。好，再来我们请同学看到第二个句子，在 can 后面的这个主要动词片语 interfere with。 好，那就是噪音其实还有一个问题，什么样子的问题呢？它会影响我们干扰我们的认知功能 interfere with。 好，那甚至于会让我们的压力增加。那请同学看到第五个句子来，在吵杂的环境当中 the brain must work harder， 大脑得更加倍的运作才怎么样呢？ filter out unnecessary sensory input， 它才有办法 filter out 其实就是过滤掉的意思，就是不要去消化吸收，大脑要把精力放在什么重要的讯息上面，去处理重要讯息，消化重要讯息，可是要把噪音挡掉 filter out， 请画起来。那要花这么大的力气才能做到这些事情，就会容易让我们有怎么样呢？觉得疲惫 mental fatigue， 而且这是伤我们的脑力的，在心理这方面的，精神这方面的 mental fatigue。
We're going to take a quick break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Let's continue to talk about noise pollution. Again, we just were talking about the fact that the brain filters out lots of sounds so we can concentrate, and we hear lots of noise in the city especially. And if we go to a kind of a loud bar or something like that, there's going to be music playing, and there's going to be people talking to each other and people dancing. So you need to filter out all that noise. Your brain does that in order to hear what the person next to you is trying to say. And this can also happen in the city as well, because we hear all sorts of noise and our brains have to filter that out. I think our minds even filter out the sound of our own heartbeat. I think the heartbeat actually makes a lot of noise, but our brains filter out that noise. We just ignore that sound. So again, we're talking about what the brain is doing here, and this is according to Wei Sun, who is, of course, working at the University of Buffalo. And this, of course, will lead to mental fatigue. Now, this cognitive overload is especially evident in educational settings. Okay, so in educational settings, it becomes very obvious that the students are being exposed to too much noise pollution. This is probably, observed by professors and teachers. Hey, my students aren't paying attention like they used to, so there must be a lot of noise in the environment.
Wait, Tom, don't you think it might be their phones?
Oh, that too. Yeah, that could definitely be part of it. People are being distracted by all sorts of things. But this is a cognitive overload, just too much information that people can't handle. And studies have shown that students in noisy classrooms struggle with reading comprehension, memory retention, and test performance.
Wow.
So that's why you have to be quiet in the library because people are trying to concentrate. And this also happens in classrooms, which can be noisy at times if classmates are, telling jokes to each other and laughing like donkeys. In this particular case, people who are trying to study will get distracted.
So, unfortunately, noise-induced stress affects more than just the brain. Here's one of our vocabulary words, induce. Induced. Induced is actually being used as an adjective here, but if you induce something as a verb, it means you cause something to happen, gives rise to it. Sometimes a woman is pregnant and her baby just doesn't want to come, and so doctors will help induce her labor, start that labor happening so that she can eventually have that baby who probably wants to just stay inside and be comfortable and not have to face the cruel world that it's born into. But to induce something. It also can mean to kind of persuade. You can induce someone to do what you want them to do by being very persuasive. So unfortunately, this is the bad news. Noise-induced stress that comes from noise, affects more than just the brain.
Right. Chronic stress, or stress that goes on for a long time, is a risk factor for many health issues, including anxiety, depression, headaches, and weakened immune systems. So, of course, you have chronic stress coming from the noise that you hear all the time when you're outside or when you're in the class or whatever. And, of course, if it's chronic, it goes on for a long time, so that can cause other health problems, such as anxiety and depression. Those are mental problems. You might have headaches, in which you need to take some medicine for. And then you have weakened immune systems. Your immune system, of course, tries to keep diseases away from you. If you have a strong immune system, you don't get sick so often. You don't get colds and things like that. If you have a strong immune system, you can probably get away with not getting COVID-19 or whatever. You're probably immune from that. If you're immune from something, of course, it's not going to affect you. But in this particular case, chronic stress or chronic noise can bring about these problems.
Maybe there's a really cute guy in your class and he's really charming, but he doesn't affect you. You're not really attracted to him. You could say, I'm immune to his charm. So you can use it for ways besides just talking about our body and our health. So it's kind of a fun verb or an adjective here. You're immune from something. Alarmingly, get ready, research has even linked nighttime traffic noise to cardiovascular problems, so heart issues. A 2023 study found that participants exposed to recorded traffic sounds during sleep exhibited higher blood pressure and more signs of vascular stress the next morning. That doesn't surprise me, actually. Our bodies need peace and quiet to relax so that we can get into a deep sleep and our heart rate will go down. All those things are important. Vascular here just refers to all the vessels, the blood vessels in our body. And you know what high blood pressure is. If you don't, you'll know when you get a little older. Most older folks have to struggle with high blood pressure.
It can cause all sorts of problems, so be careful with that. And here in the next paragraph it says, we should thus, therefore, all things considered, if we take everything into consideration, we should take proactive steps to shield our hearing. Okay, if something's proactive, it's something we do ourselves. We don't wait for somebody to tell us to do it. We do it on our own. We're proactive. Of course, bosses like proactive employees who come up with their own ideas for projects and things like that. And here we're going to take proactive steps to protect or shield our hearing. Yes, don't wait till you lose your hearing and go deaf. You can start doing something about it right now. What are some things we can do?
Well, our wonderful article here suggests some things. You might wear earplugs in loud environments. I don't really do, in Taipei at least. I have worn earplugs to baseball games in New York City. During playoffs, it gets really loud. And I thought, I need to protect my hearing. because I'd already started losing some hearing by then because I listened to music too loudly. So don't turn up the volume as high as possible on your iPod or your whatever you're listening to. Maybe you're using your phone to listen to music. Be careful with that. You might wear earplugs if you go to concerts or even in the subway stations. I don't find the subway stations that loud, though.
Not here. I think Taipei's MRT system and the one in Kaohsiung, for that matter, are fairly new, so they're not that noisy. But if you go to New York, I think their system there is very old and it's pretty loud there. And so if you're down in the subway there, in the metro or whatever you want to call it, you maybe should wear some earplugs. Those go inside your ears. I used to wear earplugs when I rode my bicycle around the city, and people thought I was crazy. Why would you do that? You can't hear the traffic. And I thought, there's no way you can miss the traffic even with earplugs. It is so loud. I never worried about that. I could always still hear it at a lower volume, though.
You don't wear earplugs anymore?
I kind of stopped to since my tinnitus got louder, so maybe that had something to affected it or something. But in any case, I'll talk about tinnitus some other time. But it is related to this. But here's something else you can do besides wearing earplugs. You can lower the volume on headphones. That's another simple yet effective measure, and that should be something you should take into consideration.
I've done that. I've done that more lately.
I should mention headphones are kind of outside your ear, whereas earbuds are inside your ear. Mm-hmm. People wear what do you call the ones that are they're wireless? Are those ear pods or something?
They're earbuds too.
Earbuds, okay.
They're only ear pods if you buy them from Apple.
Okay.
That's their brand name. But turn down the volume if you're listening to on headphones outside or on earpods. Earpods or earbuds go even closer to your eardrum, so be careful with those. Yeah, I use those. I use earbuds. I don't buy Apple. So additionally, incorporating stress relief strategies. Of course, here's the good one. Regular exercise. Get out there and regularly exercise. That can help with stress relief. Gives you endorphins, which is kind of this hormone that helps just lift your mood. It lifts your mood, your spirit, makes you happier. Get out there and just walk. You don't have to do anything stressful like jog. I'm not a jogger, but I do walk a lot. Now, you can also help counter the negative effects of unavoidable noise by doing some of these stress relief practices. Maybe some of you out there like yoga or meditation or just kind of chilling with some music at home, not too loudly, listening at a lower volume. All these things can help by taking these steps. We can reduce or decrease its harmful impact and improve our overall well-being. Tom, what's overall?
Overall just means it's complete. It affects the whole body. So we're talking about being healthy in all sorts of ways. So it can affect our general or overall well-being. And we wish you the best of luck with that, especially if you live in a noisy city like Taipei. Mm-hmm. Yes, be proactive and protect your hearing. That brings us to the end of our explanation. Here comes our Chinese teacher.
那前一段所说的这一种 mental fatigue 这些现象其实都是跟认知功能有关系的，所以其实就是 cognitive overload， 就是认知超载，等于是平常我们大脑要处理的工作已经够多了，在嘈杂的环境里面呢，大脑要花更多力气才有办法呢好好的运作。再来我们看到第3段，请同学呢看到逗点之后的主词 noise-induced stress。好，这些压力哪里来的？压力来源很多啊，噪音造成的，请同学特别注意的是这个复合形容词 The stress is induced by noise。 那我们把这个概念呢造成一个复合形容词再加名词，这个压力是由噪音导致的，所以请同学看到 noise 名词，那后面这里 induce 因为是要去修饰 stress 是 the stress is induced by noise， 所以呢我们这个 induce 它就用过去分词。好，那这是复合形容词 noise induced stress。 再来我们看到第2个句子， 长期在这样子的环境之下，这个压力的来源，它也等于是什么？长期性的、慢性的 chronic stress。chronic 就是慢性的。那再来，请同学看到第3个句子，在这里动词片语很重要。研究结果呢，让我们可以看到 Research has even linked nighttime traffic noise to cardiovascular problems。所以夜间如果还受到噪音的干扰的话，其实很容易产生心血管的问题。这两者 link A to B， 那就表示呢 A 跟 B 之间是有关联的。好，再来，请同学看到第4段的第1个句子。知道噪音有这么多的危害，我们该怎么做呢？ We should thus, all things considered, take proactive steps。 好，请同学把 proactive 画起来。这边所指的就是我们应该要主动积极，而且呢，这个 proactive 它隐含着什么意思？是预防的，事先采取动作的。Take proactive steps 要做什么呢？ To shield our hearing。 这里的 shield 并不是名词盾牌，而是动词，要去保护，等于是 protect 的意思。那再来，我们看到第4个句子 Additionally, incorporating stress relief strategies， 就是我们呢把这一些消除压力的策略，比方说规律的运动，那这样子可以降低平常噪音对我们的影响。好，就是也纳入我们的生活当中，多多的去运动。那即使平常在嘈杂的环境，那难免会有压力，可是不要让它持续累积，排解掉这些压力。有什么效果呢？请看动词后面 It can help counter the negative effects of unavoidable noise。 所以这一些无法避免的噪音，它会造成负面的影响，但是如果像规律运动的话，就可以克服掉这些不好的效果。 It can help counter the negative effects。 好，以上就是我们对噪音这篇文章所做的中文讲解，谢谢大家。
Okay, we're at the end of our lesson for today. Thank you so much for listening, and thank you so much for joining us, and thank you so much for reading along, and we look forward to seeing you again next time. From all of us here at English Digest, my name is Tom.
I'm Stephanie.
Goodbye.
Bye.